Yep, David Cassidy album, the same thing.
You did David Cassidy recently?
I'm talking about the release of their album, your album.
Oh yeah, it's coming out at the same time. A little competition there. Conflict of interest on the part of our record company. How will they be able to do them both at once? Two big important records in one year.
Plus visiting kids, that's pretty big.
Well, that's not going to come out on Enigma, so I'm not worried about that.
Well, might as well start now, and I wanted to ask you how your Belle Biv DeVoe album was doing.
Well, actually, it's doing beyond our wildest expectations. I mean, it caught us by surprise, to be honest with you. I went in and, we had talked about Belle Biv. We never knew it was going to be coming out. It was during our Raisinets period that we recorded that record. You probably noticed we were handsomer and darker during that time period.
Costuming was good. Where'd you ever find a dead end to shoot a music video?
Well, what goes around comes around.
With the increasing environmental awareness that's been happening, do you think people are really finally realizing the truth about de-evolution, or do you think it's sunk into them yet?
I think that things have devolved up to a point where, except for a small, hardcore minority that is holding out by keeping its head in the sand, I think there's quite a large amount of people that are willing to admit the truth about de-evolution, and that we're all right in the middle of it. I think, I've noticed that in L.A. anyhow. Nobody pretends that something's going on that isn't. They all know it sucks, and that the system is collapsing on itself. It's just covering itself with shit, basically. And, it's just that same old problem. It's the race between information and misinformation. See if anything becomes of it or not. We'll see if the loggers can cut those forests down before they can be convinced that there's a reason not to cut all the forests down.
I wonder how long that'll take before it sinks in. It'll be too late for sure.
Well, I mean, they could totally strip what's left, since 90% of the forests are gone now anyhow. They could strip what's left in about 5-10 years, something like that, I think. Then it's all just academic after that.
Let's move to a happier subject. About to release your 10th product as Devo.
Is it 10? This is our 10th record. Wow. Excluding all the bootleg things that we had nothing to do with, which there was probably about 20 LPs like that. God, yeah. Well, now I don't feel bad about feeling old. 10. Oh, good. Yeah, this is a good one, too. If I can even tell anymore.
Well, tell me the story behind Smooth Noodle Maps.
Well, contrary to what you may think from the title, it's not really a collection of pasta recipes, but rather Smooth Noodle Maps refers to a mathematical term used to describe computer animation that's been developed at JPL and a number of other places using fractal mathematics to find order out of chaos. Smooth Noodle Maps are used to do things like track the weather patterns on Jupiter, and to try and find some sort of an overview and some sort of a reason behind patterns of gambling, and if they are purely just, random or not. And fractal mathematics answers a lot of the questions and proves that less things are chaotic than we would suppose at first sight at our planet.
So Smooth Noodles is a Devo technical word?
Yes, it's sort of a Devo way of saying shit happens.
Sounds good. I know the public are going to hear this release and they're going to say, That's not Devo.
Well, they said that about Belle Biv, and they'll probably say that about Smooth Noodle Maps, but, you know, it is us, you know, and frightening as that might seem, it's the same guys doing what they do, probably worst, and that's making albums.
Can you describe the total style of the output?
Well, we're a little less naive on this record than we ever were before, and so that makes for a little less of just initial single-minded altruistic assholism, but you know, we have a genetic imperative to fulfill. We have an encoding to, you know, to live out, and I think this record, well, actually, it's not really a record, is it? It's a tape and a CD. Yeah. This product kind of bears that out.
It is kind of strange not referring to an album anymore.
Yeah. It makes you feel old. I mean, there's going to be kids that'll make jokes about turntables, you know, or they'll just never understand the concept.
And probably try to play a record without a needle or a stylus and wonder how it worked.
Well, I made plenty of jokes about those old wind-up ones that they had over at General Boy's parents' house. Colonel Boy.
How did you come about choosing Postmodern Man as a single?
Well, we didn't really choose Postmodern Man. It was chosen for us, really. The record company and their all-knowing wisdom played it for somebody somewhere sometime, and that person said, "This is your single." And not one to really have any idea what in the hell makes one song a single and another one not in any concrete terms myself. I just kind of, I can't think of singles, you know. I just write music and do what I try to do, and I just said, fine, you know, we just said, fine, sure, if that's the single.
Sounds like you're...
Can we have a copy when it comes out?
Maybe they'll give you one.
I'm hoping, you know, I told them I'd pay for it, actually, you know, last week, because I just got tired of waiting and signing other people's copies.
There certainly is a lot of Devo wisdom spread throughout the tracks. Tell me about A Change Is Gonna Come.
Well, it's A Change Is Gonna Come was actually, it's the kind of song that probably sounds best played with spoons and a washboard, because we've seen that, we've heard that song played a number of different ways since it was put on the record, and actually I think that if we stripped it down to just its pure form, I think it's really a washboard and spoon kind of song. It's kind of bluesy, and it's you know, and it's looking forward to a future that probably never will be.
What about When We Do It?
When We Do It, well, When We Do It celebrates about the one thing that most, well, I guess not even most people agree on it, but that of people I know, my friends, they at least agree that there's at least one thing that's fun in life, and, you know, doing it's that. The other meaning is that's how Jerry gets his dog to take a shit. He says, he asks Luna if she wants to do it, and if she starts wagging like crazy, it's time.
Okay, now tell me, what are Pink Jazz Trancers?
Pink Jazz Trancers, that's an odd one, because the title and the music predated the lyrics, and the lyrics came along afterwards. And the title was sort of cyberpunk inspired. Mr. Gibson. And I think the lyrics did a good job of fleshing it out, the you know, the desired mentality to the music. It's your basic love song for a computer jockey in the year 2010.
So it'll take at least another 20 years before it hits the charts.
That's probably unfortunately true, yeah. Long after Devoe's dead, you know, people will finally realize the value to this record.
I think that after hearing the song Jimmy, I won't always give pity to those I see who get those handy little parking spots everywhere.
Yeah, well, Jimmy is a particular case. You know, this is, you know, you have to listen to this one. It's not, on first hearing, there's, you know, you may have, you know, your handicapped activists up in arms or up in wheels or whatever they would be. But it's really not against, it's really not what it seems like on the first. You would never really, this is about somebody that was so bad, you would wish something that you wouldn't wish on anybody, you know. And it was talking about how, it really talks about how justice rarely is served in this world. And in this one particular situation, justice was served, and it was a time for celebration.
Well, knowing a lot of other Devo releases, I'm sure that this one will be misunderstood for sure.
We're betting on it, yeah. Ironic humor doesn't fare well in this culture, and so, but you know, being masochistic the way we are, you know, it seems to be our lot in life. This is kind of a, you know, it's kind of a Devo new age. It's probably about as new agey as Devo gets, you know. You know, it's you know, it's a song about karma, you know.
How did you choose to cover Morning Dew?
Well, it was Devo and Grateful Dead really seem to have a lot in common. And, you know, I mean, well, we feel an affinity with them. We're sort of grateful Devo at this point in our career, just glad to still be alive. And of all their songs, although this wasn't really their song originally, and it has been covered since then, even quite, you know, very well by Jeff Beck, and Rod Stewart sang on it. Strangely enough, you know, there was a Rod Stewart that you know, actually accomplished some great things. But it's a song about, you know, a post modern world. And it was time for it to come out of the cellar one more time, I guess.
Listening to the music, I've read a couple of reviews that say there isn't anything new here, that it's just regurgitation of the 80s. But I mean, if you really sit and listen to this album and listen to a lot of the layers, there's a lot of amazing sampling that you've done, and I was wondering what the origins of some of those samples used in the songs are.
Well, it's funny you should mention that. Most all of the samples were things from the 80s that we digested and then regurgitated. Sampled it, made a song out of it.
But it gets more complex than that.
Oh, okay. Well, it gets more complex.
Well, what I'm talking about is taking two, say, separate sounds, marrying them together, and then, you know, sampling it or mutating it as a new sound.
That's just one of the many things we do here at Mutato Musica. Mutation is our business, and mutating music has always been our fondest form of recombinant information.
The digital artwork for the layout is technically astounding with your mosaic suits. What's the name for the newest look?
I don't know, it's Devo's postmodern look, I suppose. You know, it's at this point in our life, well, actually, we did manage to find one more outfit that is physically punishing. We wore this suit to the desert to film our first video, and so we found ourselves wearing, you know, these heavy acetate outfits with black turtleneck shirts underneath them and snow pants, you know, underneath the suit just for good luck. Earlier this year, so you know, I don't know. I mean, it's we're bright colors. We won't lose each other in a crowd, you know, since everybody's, you know, hip and black these days. You know, at least when we have our uniforms on, we can hold hands mentally in the crowd without getting lost visually.
Tell me the story behind the music video. Now, I'm not sure if you want to get into the problems that you had with the record company, but just in describing maybe the basics of the original production of the video.
Well, when we started to do this video, we were kind of looking to do an anti-video video, and it started off in concept. It was going to be our Devo car commercial, and we just drive in a car the whole time.
Can I just pause you there? I'm going to run out of tape, and I know it's going to be good.
It's going to be beautiful, but like in a cartoon almost. Like it was like stylized a little too much, you know. So it took forever to track her down and get her phone number and find out that she does dance professionally at clubs and stuff. So we thought, well, she won't mind dancing for us for a while. And the record company rejected her. So at this point, you know, they picked that girl for us. And we got Miss March, 1990 from Playboy. She's $100 a day, in case you want to know. We had her all day. You just couldn't keep the clothes on that girl. She just felt it was her duty to run out of the bathroom topless every 5 minutes for no important reason, you know. And she was bubbling with enthusiasm and was totally non-Devo, but because of it, she was like more Devo than we could ever be at the same time. We rented her. We didn't buy it. We rented her a giant, larger-than-life-size teddy bear, and she wrestled with it and put a red Devo hat on it, and things that were so obscene that only a true devotee could get a good laugh out of it, and cut them into the video, and Frenchie, head of the video department at Enigma, and presumably the rest of the people there, decided that it was finally a video, and that, you know, those wacky pioneers had managed to squeeze one out again. Fortunately, we got the green light on this one now, and so the video's out there.
So it probably will air on MTV then, right?
Well, you know, I can't say about that. You know, as far as I know, you know, I guess that's all up to record companies and MTV people behind the door kind of stuff.
But I'm sure that if...
The kind of thing that doesn't really go on, that you and I don't really know about, but it happens anyhow. It may or may not get on MTV.
Well, if it doesn't make it on MTV, I'm sure that it will make it on the Playboy channel.
Well, actually, right before she left, Miss March said, "Do you guys have any extra film in that camera?" And we said, yes. And she said, "Well, I've got a cable show on Playboy channel, and I'd like to shoot a version of this song with me dancing for the whole thing." We said, okay. And she proceeded to do her, I guess it'd have to be Miss March's dirty dance, you know, because it was definitely filthy what she was doing in many ways. And it was probably dirty in some way, but it was also, every guy that worked on the set, I noticed that everybody in the crew made sure they paid up their $20 to get a 3/4 copy of that footage. So I'll try and get you a copy of that.
Yeah,
Actually, that could be good.
Yeah, I bet it
I've seen it. It's pretty It's pretty low. Lowbrow.
This is the 10th release, like we talked about. I mean, what is keeping Devo going?
I think the only thing keeping Devo going at this point is just nerve receptors that refuse to quit. You know, it's like Devo is a virus. You know, you can stomp us, you can belittle us, you can cut us, but we multiply. You know, you can't hurt Devo really. You know, we hurt ourselves more than anybody else could ever hurt us. You know, I think it's not a thing of what keeps Devo going. It's just, you know, there's some of the guys in this band, they're kind of like, well, they remind me in a way, don't get this wrong, but I don't know, Larry and the Three Stooges, I don't know if you remember the Stooges, but Larry, I once read that he never had another job. Larry Fine never held another job in his whole life except as a stooge. And he was on unemployment before then and after then. I thought, that sounds a lot like Devo. Because there's guys in my band that they don't do anything until, you know, the band goes out on tour and they just wait. You know, they're sitting there in suspended animation in a cocoon siesta state, hibernating, just waiting for the, you know, the next record and the next tour. And, you know, I think the only thing that keeps us, you know, what keeps us going is there's some invisible gyroscope that, you know, was implanted when we were born back in the Buckeye State. You know, there's something that's connected up to our DNA chains that just keep them constantly at that angle. So I don't know how long we'll be around. You know, we might be able to come visit our retirement home, and we'll still put on afternoon shows or something. Who knows?
Wouldn't that be a lot of fun?
Well, the scary thing is I could actually really imagine something like that happen. But
well, someday it will happen. I mean, you will find a retirement home somewhere, and someone's gonna blow the dust off of an early, you know, duty now for the future or something like that, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you know, Pink Pussycat's gonna be playing, and
that's it. Yeah, that's right. Pink Pussycat will be playing, and they'll wheel us out onto stage, you know, like just us, our chairs, and our shared colosto bag with 5 hoses going into one receptor.
That'll be an interesting sight.
Mm-hmm. Guaranteed to fill a bag every concert. We can still fill a bag, you.
Looking back over the Decca Devo, what could be some of your greatest memories, or what are some of your greatest memories?
I don't know, you know, it's, you mean seriously? Are you asking this like a serious question?
Very serious.
Okay. For me, if I was to say some of my greatest Devo memories, I remember when we played at this, one of the first times we played in England was at a show called Nebworth Festival, summer of '78, I think. And we had just had these singles that came out of our garage. We'd made them in our garage, and it cost us like $400 a piece to make, because we used an old TAC tape recorder we borrowed, and somehow Stiff Records got a hold of them and pressed them up and distributed them, and, you know, we had 3 songs that, you know, all went somewhere in Europe to #1. You know, either Satisfaction or Mongoloid or Jocko Homo went #1 somewhere over there. So we played this festival that had like 120,000 people, and we'd only played little clubs that were about the size of this room before that. You know, we'd only played in these little places in Akron and CBGB's in New York and Whiskey A Go-Go out here, and we had no crew or anything. So what we did is, I remember we wore these jumpsuits that we had these gray jumpsuits, and we wore them and hung out on stage while the other bands, Genesis and Starship and Tom Petty and all these other bands were playing. We sat out there with the roadies and for the other bands and stuff, and when it was Devo's turn, we went out and set up our equipment, and then we ran off stage. We had these dressing rooms, you know, they were like mobile homes way out. We had to go out, and we put on our yellow suits and ran back out on stage and played our set. Then we ran back off the stage and put on our gray suits again and ran back out and tore down the equipment. nobody knew, you know. It was like we were our own crew back in those days. Stuff like, I remember that. That was a lot of fun.
They came from Earth.
It was good because back then, you know, we'd be in Europe and people would go, Akron, what's that? You know, they thought it was like a planet or something. And we had to explain to them it was, you know, just some really depressing city in the middle of the U.S., you know, an industrial wasteland.
Can't imagine how much you learned that day about the business.
Well, I tell you what, we learned one thing for sure, and that is, if you're your own roadie, you can't go get the drummer another stick if you're sitting on the drums at the same time. We did have a couple odd experiences on that stage that were less than professional sounding, but it was still fun to do it that way.
How do you feel about the Parents Music Resource Center?
Parents Music Resource Center?
Yeah.
They're the censors.
That's right.
Oh. I think they're dangerous. I think all the small-minded conservative activities that are going on right now in our culture are reactionary in a very, to the problems that we're having, they're reactionary in a very dangerous way. I think they missed the point. You know, it's back to the same thing where it's not nuclear bombs we must fear, but the human mind or lack of it on this planet. It's like there's a reason why people. There's music that I think's that I can't stand to listen to personally, and that I don't want, and that to me is obscene. There's 99% of everything that's on my television screen to me is obscene and a waste of time and energy and just a suck, and it doesn't give you anything. And it's the strangest thing is like a lot of the people that are singled out by the PMRC seem to be people that actually have information and are making information available. Actually, recently I read an article about 4 artists and performance artists who, in the U.S., who had been turned down from NEA grants, and I got so upset because I knew 2 of the artists. I'd been to see their work before, and although they weren't personal friends of mine, I'd seen things they'd done and thought they were great, and I got so upset I just wrote checks for all 4 of them, sent them off to them.
You heard Band in the USA? I think it's the new 2 Live Crew song.
No, I haven't listened to it.
Which is a cover of Born in the USA, but called Band in the USA.
No, I know about it. I've been kind of locked in front of a computer for the last couple of weeks. So, yes, I've missed Band in the USA. Is it as good as they say?
I believe so. There's a lot of...
nasty as they say?
Their album is nasty, sure, but this is the parody song, which has come out since, I guess, their arrests in Florida.
Yeah. Well, it's going to sell them more records, It's like that's the great thing about the PMRC. They're so, like out of touch. It's like with what's going on that what they'll do is they just everything they do will just backfire. Is my feeling, I thought Me So Horny was great.
Yeah, I just missed that clip, but that's all right.
That's okay.
Yeah, Me So Horny is pretty funny.
I got the album. I can't say I really like it. It could be obscene, stupid, or assholes. You can't be selective about what assholes you punish, Not like that, anyhow.
Yeah, we're tripping.
Mark, it's 72. Do you want to learn that? It's set at 72. Do you want to learn that?
Yeah. It's 90 in here, Nancy. Set the temperature down.
Okay. I hear there's plans for a European tour?
You know, Dan, I'm going to let you be the first to know it. There are plans in the making for a European tour. Should be over there somewhere in the middle of September, I'd say through most of October. And it'll be one of those kamikaze tours where it's a different city every day, and we'll hit everywhere that they'll let us in.
Any plans in Granite right now of where the tour is going to start and end?
Yeah, you want to know the dates? I think they're hanging on the wall over there somewhere.
Can you just say we're going to start?
I don't even know where we're starting, to tell you the truth. I think it's Amsterdam, or quite possibly, or Sweden. Might be Sweden. But it's, we'll go through Sweden, France, go down, we'll just tour all over the west side. We haven't been invited to the east side, unfortunately, but
It's been a long time since Devo's played Europe.
it's true. We haven't been over there since 82 or something. I can't remember exactly when, but something like that.
Looking forward to it with a lot of excitement? Or is it more of a pain in the sense of it's nice when you're over there and everything's going fine, but I mean the preparation stages?
Well, actually, of all the people in the band, I'm the one who's least excited about touring. Don't ask. I think it's just because it really beats me up. I'm just, to sing for 2 hours like that every night, it's like, then I just spend the rest of the day recuperating. I don't know why. I guess because I'm just turned 60 or something, maybe, but so for me it's like, and especially because I know the tour is going to be, we're playing every day, so it's not like you see the countries you're in. You just see, hotel rooms and theaters, but yeah, it'll be interesting to get back, I'll definitely want to go back on a vacation instead of going over like this, but.
Has the show been designed as far as the songs that you're going to play? Will it reflect Smooth Noodles?
Yeah, I'm sure it'll have a number of things from Smooth Noodle and from Hardcore Devo, since they're both coming out over there this summer. Actually, they're both out right now. I think someone told me that Postmodern Man is charting right now in a couple countries, Holland and somewhere else. And the people that are putting out Hardcore, the very first record they ever put out was Mongoloid by Devo in 1977, I think it was. Yeah, 1977 they put out Mongoloid, and then when they actually started their company was 1980. So this is their 10-year anniversary, and they're doing things with their first bands.
So, I mean, virtually we're talking the 11th release already.
Shocking but true, Dan. Shocking but true. We are talking 11 Devo releases.
Can you explain what Hardcore is all about?
Hardcore Devo is actually for hardcore fans, I think, because the recordings all sound very industrial rural. They date back from 1974 through 1977. And other than a couple of them having shown up on bootlegs before, I think most all the material is unreleased in any form. I think out of 11 or 12 cuts, I think 4 of them have been available before. Excuse me. 4 of them have been available, and the rest are all surfacing for the first time. We actually had, 30 or 40 different songs that we'd recorded in our little studio before we, connected up with David Bowie and then with Warner's and Virgin Records and got our deal. So, I mean, there is a bunch of stuff, in the vaults. It's actually scary. I was in there recently. There's about 2,000 or 3,000 tapes of things we did over the last, 17 or 18 years. Most of the tapes falling apart, of course. Like when we were making the masters for these tapes, we went back and had to go back to the original unmixed 4 tracks for a couple of the songs because the master 2 tracks were just They just, the oxide was falling off the tapes in like penny-sized flakes.
So everything's being transferred to DAT now and being saved for your spot in history.
Well, at least this stuff got saved. At least we were able to salvage these tunes. So.
Well, I'd like to thank you this time for the opportunity of doing this interview, and really hope Devo a lot of luck in the 90s.
Well, thanks, Dan. It's always a pleasure to get to fly up to Canada like this and to be back on the other side of the border where life is a little